What's going on, guys? Your boy Joey Shake72 coming to you guys with a video right now. This is going to be one of my first videos that I ever make of a movie review or anything like that. I want to go over all speculation, not speculation, but, you know, The Last Jedi came out this past weekend. And, you know, half of the fans aren't really pleased with it, and half the fans pretty much, you know, like it, but there could be things worth improving. So I want to go through this movie a little bit and kind of want to get some points down. Now, I want to go through some things that, you know, this is going to be one of those positive, this is going to be a positive video because I love Star Wars with a passion, and I think people are making a huge deal out of what happened. Do I agree with everything that happened in this movie? No. I think it was very comical. I think every time, I think jokes were made way too much in every scene. I think, you know, once you know, the movie would suck you in, there always be something that, you know, turns you off or gets you confused when you're in that moment of being sucked in by the movie. You're leaning forward in your chair, and a lot of things are happening inside your head, where I was more listening to this movie than I was watching. You know what I mean? I was kind of really listening carefully at what's going on, and I know I've only seen the movie once. I'm going to go see it a second time. But look, people think it was poorly made. Rian Johnson did something that really killed off some characters in this movie. You know, people have a problem with, you know, Rey going to Luke Skywalker, seeking out training, trying to find her place within the galaxy, and goes to Octu, which is the planet that Luke Skywalker is residing on. And there's really no training going on. There wasn't really any training. She was swinging her lightsaber at this fucking giant tall rock for a while, and then cut it open, and sliced the rock open. You know, you didn't really see much of a training sequence, and you didn't really have to cut it off in parts. You could have made one huge part of this movie, a training sequence, leading up to her being ready to go out there and do her thing as a Jedi. You know, just a lot of things like that. You know, I had no problem with it. You know, I could nitpick. This is to all the Star Wars fans that didn't like this movie. You can nitpick every fucking movie. See, I'm not all about the canon shit. I don't really read. I read the canon shit here and there a little bit, but I'm not a big canon guy. I'm more of a movie guy. I don't read the comics. I mean, I've read comics. I've read books. You know, a few things here and there. I used to. Not much anymore as I've gotten older. I really haven't listened to the canon shit, because you listen to all these other Star Wars channels, Star Wars Theory, Stupendous Wave, you know, shit like that. The canon shit, I really just don't. I can't really get into it, and it's not part of the movie. And it's like, oh, what happened when Darth Vader? What happened after Episode 3 when this happened? Or is, you know, oh, look at the ring he's wearing and what that means. And I mean, all of that, I guess, matters in a certain way. But if it's not accustomed to being in the movie and it represents something where it's actually physically there and it's talked about, the canon shit's got to stop. Honestly, I just don't agree with half the shit that happens. I know it's all from the books, but you know, everything from the books isn't fucking true. Lot of shit, a lot of theories, you know, and then, you know, probably the one thing that, you know, I saw, you know, Snoke, Kylo Ren brought Rey, to Snoke's fucking palace, wherever the hell they were. You know, he brought Rey before Snoke, and, you know, she was tortured a little bit, you know, nothing crazy, but Snoke was literally telling Kylo to fucking kill Rey, and, you know, and a huge thing happens where Snoke takes Rey's lightsaber, puts it next to him, you know, when he's sitting down, and then Kylo uses the Force and turns the lightsaber, ignites it, and it goes right through Snoke's body, ripping him in half. And falling apart, and he's pretty much dead at this point, where it leads to a whole battle between Snoke's guards. Rey and Kylo team up, and actually that was a really good scene. Rey and Kylo teaming up in that scene was made pretty damn nicely. That was probably one of my favorite scenes of them two, you know, teaming up. So, you know, the Snoke death, Snoke was... The problem is, it's not just us, the fans... all the Star Wars YouTubers are making a huge deal out of things which they're not going to be. A lot of like Snoke. Who is Snoke? Blah blah blah. And then they amp him up so fucking high. I mean, this is only episode 8. There's still one more movie left in the trilogy, so we don't know what's going to happen. That could have been Snoke's clone. I mean, there's a lot of theories out there because Snoke wanted a clone army because he's into cloning. So maybe that wasn't Snoke because the 2 pictures that I've seen from Snoke in this movie than the last movie are entirely different. And I don't know how much of that is true. We will find out because I'm not going to go into fucking detail about that. We don't know anything that's going to happen with Snoke. Snoke is presumably dead right now. Ripped in half. Sliced in half like butter from a lightsaber. And, you know, then you want to find out the second biggest thing that everyone amped up. Who are Rey's parents? Who are Rey's parents? We don't know until after that huge, you know, that Kylo and Rey team up. They friggin' kill everybody with their lightsaber. And then they get to that moment where they're looking at each other. Kylo wants Rey to join him and to fight the dark and the light and rule the galaxy, and Rey was just torn inside because she wants to go with him and help him, but at the same time she knows that that's not the best way to do it, so trying to get him on her side was the best choice. So she ends up getting away, but before that, Kylo tells Rey, I know about your, don't you want to know about your parents? And Rey says, yeah. So telling her the truth, and with me really leaning in the front of my chair and really listening to what's going on, Kylo tells Rey that her parents deserted her, traded her for money for alcohol, drinking money. Traded her for drinking money, and then that was it. And then I was kind of like, okay. That's it. Okay, so I guess those are her parents. But you gotta look at it at 2 sides because number one, Kylo could be lying to her just because hey, you got traded. Of course, he would tell her she got traded by her parents traded her for drinking money. Why would he tell her the truth that would really set her heart on fire? Why would he give her something that's gonna really give her a reason to stay to the light? He wanted to give her something, so he could have been lying. So what does he get out of lying to her? He gets her coming to his side, to the dark side, and trying to rule the galaxy. So him lying about her parents, I could see that happening 100% because he was a scumbag through these past 2 movies, and I don't give a doubt the way he passes by him that that happens. So I can see him lying to her about her parents because I feel like there's something else with that. But at the same time, you gotta look at the other side. Every person that's connected has been connected. Every main character in this movie has been connected to another person. You understand? Leia, you start out with Luke was born. Luke was connected to Darth Vader. That was his father. Luke was connected to her mother. Luke was connected to, and then you go to, like the whole. I'm trying to like make this seem like it's the right thing. Everybody has a connection. The only person that really didn't have a connection in Star Wars was Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader. No connection. There was no father. His mother just had a baby. Just got pregnant out of nowhere. And that was it. The living force. That's what happened. Everyone's connected to somebody. You understand? So I'm glad there's no connection to Rey. She's not living up to somebody else. She's not she's not living up to somebody else. She's not trying to prove herself for her bloodline. She doesn't, and if she doesn't have a bloodline, that's a great thing. I mean, I think it's a great thing that she's made up of the essence of the living force, or something. You know what I mean? If she's not connected to anybody, it's not a bad thing of this movie. It's not a bad thing at all. I had no problem with it. I had no problem whatsoever. But everybody in the Star Wars universe is connected to somebody. Every main character that you root for or you don't root for, always connected to somebody before them. Could be a parent, could be an apprentice, could be anybody. There's always a bloodline. Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren is the son of Han Solo and Leia, General Organa, which is Leia. You know what I mean? There's always somebody connected there's this whole, this Star Wars universe this story has been about a family dysfunction run from bloodline to bloodline. And it's always been those main characters. But Rey is different because she's not connected to anybody. You understand? So when I go back to Kylo lying to her about her parents, it kind of makes sense. Not telling her the truth to get her to the dark side. Why would he tell her the truth? So, I don't know if she sensed it, if her mind was blocked and she ended up escaping and leaving. It's been nuts. And then you go to the scene where, you know, the Resistance ship, flagship is being attacked by the First Order. Leia is at the cockpit. Kylo Ren is going to attack the ship, sensing her mother is right at the cockpit. He aims with his ship and almost presses both buttons. Ends up not pressing the buttons, but unfortunately, his troopers behind him ended up shooting it. Leia ended up coming out of the cockpit. She falls down from the sky into and she ends up in water or something. And she looks like she's about to die. And all of a sudden her hands move and she goes through this fucking crazy thing where she just floats through the water from her power. And she's never used her powers. The thing is, she can sense. She's Luke's brother, of course, and daughter of Darth Vader. But at the same time, she's never used a lightsaber. She never wanted to use a lightsaber. She was a politician. That's what she was all of her life. A politician, a rebel leader. She was the rebellion leader. And she was mostly a little bit of a politician. So, you know, her mother was a politician. So it all comes, you know, she was floating in air in the water. She ended up, and she just traveled. And she traveled through the water and ended up coming to this other main flagship. And they opened the door and they fucking rescued her. She was just flying through space like that. I kind of was like, this is kind of weird. I thought it was a little weird, that's all, because, you know, maybe it was a big thing for her, you know what I mean? Because she never used her powers. I mean, she must have used something that she knew, or maybe she was trained to do something, but she never used it. I don't know, but she traveled across the way and did a lot of things. So, you know, that was kind of okay. I mean, kind of a little weird, but it is what it is. But I wasn't unhappy about it. But, you know, it was a nice thing to have. Especially you know, Carrie Fisher, God rest her soul, you know, she passed away. And, you know, they want to make a big scene for her. So I don't blame them for doing that. I'm not going to put them down for that. And then what I want to get to next is Finn and Rose. Character Finn and Rose. Both of them, they've had a chemistry through this movie. They end up kissing in the movie. And they've been saving each other, and they've been on a little adventure together. They go to this casino to go get this cracker, this safe cracker, this lock guy that can unlock to go to Snoke's ship and to go to Snoke's ship and unlock these things to where they need to take this trace thing off of the ship so they can't sense the resistance going through light speed. So that's what they try been doing on the ship. So they go to the casino. I think Finn was used the wrong way in this movie just a little bit. I think he should have been in a more important role in this movie. Let's see. All right, I'm back. Going back to, I don't know, Rose was probably a character I wasn't really happy with. You know, she was just an engineer on the ship, and she caught Finn, trying to go into the cockpit, and she thought he was escaping, and he wasn't. She said, you know, it was on a resistance ship. You know, she's like, where are you going? He's like, oh, nothing. He was just trying to play it off, and, you know, he wasn't trying to escape. He was trying to, you know, he's trying to save the resistance, so he has to go to Snoke's ship, or he has to go find this thief cracker guy, which is Benicio del Toro's character that they find on this planet. In this casino, I forgot what planet it is. You know, Finn, you know, at the end of the movie, you know, he was on one of the speeders going towards those big AT-AT M9 walkers or M6 walkers, whatever they're called, and sacrificed himself because they were shooting this big beam. Next to the walkers, there was this big beam, and it was shooting at the actual base to where if they shot that beam at the base, they'd rip it open, and the First Order would be able to get inside and kill the rest of the remaining Resistance, because there wasn't many Resistance members left. So Finn takes his little ship, and he gets into the beam of light where it was charging and was about to go, and Rose came with her ship and knocked him out of the way and saved him. Could have died. And we all thought Rose died because he opened his cockpit, he ran to her ship, and, you know, she ended up kissing him, and then she passed out. And I thought she was dead, but she wasn't, I don't think. I could be wrong. I don't think so, though. So that was it with Finn and Rose. So Finn, I've liked him. I liked him in The Force Awakens a lot. Ex-Stormtrooper turned, you know, hero. You know, wielding a lightsaber in Episode 7, and then all of a sudden, you know, this movie, never really playing a huge part. He goes on his little own adventure to this casino. Like I said, this casino place. It's a casino. It's based off of the rich. There's a lot of power there. They sell weapons to the First Order. That's where the First Order gets all their weapons, or they make weapons. That's where their suppliers are. So you get to that part, and then mostly like the ending, you know, Luke Skywalker was using, so as those AT walkers were getting close to the base, Luke Skywalker was using this power from Ahch-To. He literally used a power to where he can literally get a clone of himself to the planet, and kind of, he can use the Force to kind of fight with his, literally it was him on another planet, but he was using his power. So he fought Kylo Ren and kind of made some little moves. You know, Kylo was going after him. And Luke was just making him miss. And then once Kylo stuck his lightsaber inside the chest of... once Kylo Ren stuck his lightsaber into the chest of Luke Skywalker, it was all... nothing happened. He just looked and noticed that there was something wrong, and Luke was using a power, so the lightsaber was going through the body, but nothing was happening. He wasn't dying, nothing was happening. So we're all, as us sitting there, we're like, huh, what the hell is going on? By the end of the movie, you know, the Resistance, Luke Skywalker was in the middle of the field taking all these blaster shots, and nothing was hitting him. And then that's when Kylo came down, fought him in a little duel, and it gave enough time for the Resistance to fucking escape. That was at the end of the movie. So then Luke, you see Luke on Ahch-To on this rock, and he's done using his power, and he stops, and he's all tired, and he's really tired. He made his last stand. He helped the Resistance when they needed him. Rey got through his head. He helped the Resistance when they needed him. He never left the planet of Ahch-To, where he's been there for 20-something years. And he literally just passed out on the rock. He laid there, and then the fucking camera view went far away from him slowly. And all of a sudden, you see his cape fly off the mountain with the wind blowing. His cape flew off. All his clothes flew off. His body disappeared. Went into exile, as I would think, because Yoda went into exile when he couldn't defeat Palpatine. Obi-Wan Kenobi went to exile when he couldn't defeat Vader. And now Luke Skywalker just went into exile after doing a rightful deed for the Resistance. When the Resistance needed a Jedi the most, Luke hasn't used his powers in a long time and finally used his powers. And a lot of good things have happened from Jedi going into exile. Yoda has been helping Luke Skywalker for years. Obi-Wan Kenobi was helping Luke. You know, they're not physically there. When a Jedi goes into exile, they're not physically there. They're of the living Force. So they could show up. They'll always be in your mind. They'll always be talking to you no matter what. Do I think Luke should have went out that way? I probably wasn't a big fan of him going out that way, but him doing that represented that he made one last stand, and really, because he was in hibernation for 20-something years. He didn't want, he stopped connecting himself to the Force. He lived like a caveman. He hunted his prey for food. He lives in a rock house on a mountain. And, you know, he lived his own life and wanted to forget all the bad things that happened. And one of the reasons is that he started, after episode 7, he started his own Jedi Academy. And when Luke started his own Jedi Academy after defeating Vader, Yoda told him, and episode 6, he told Luke that pass on what you have learned, and we need your, he was the last of the Jedi. Pass on what you have learned, train. So when they go by the books, which the one thing they did go by the books is that Luke Skywalker made his own Jedi Academy. Han Solo had a baby, and Leia had a baby. Kylo, wanted to be a Jedi. Had the Force, of course, Force sensitive, because Leia is Force sensitive. Luke took him to be a Jedi. And slowly but surely, Snoke got in this boy's head, because could have been talking to him in his sleep, whatever the hell it was turning him to the dark side slowly. But Luke didn't give him a choice. Luke tried murdering him overnight when he knew in his mind that he had dark side in him. And you can't blame him, because the bloodline runs through Darth Vader to Leia to now Kylo Ren. Luke tried murdering him in his sleep, and they went through a whole thing in the movie where they showed what happened. Luke tried murdering him in his sleep, sensing what was going on. Never confronted him. Luke turned Kylo to the dark side, not because he wanted to, because he gave him no choice, because Luke was going to kill him. Literally ignited his lightsaber while he was sleeping. Kylo turned around, took out his blue lightsaber, blocked it, used the Force with his other hand, knocked all the rocks down, and he escaped. And Luke comes out of a barrel of rocks. His hand comes up, he gets out. Him and R2, he sees R2 looking at the Jedi Academy. It is burned to the ground. Snoke got in his head fully. Kylo already made his decision to turn to the dark side. Luke gave him no choice. The problem is Luke didn't give him a choice. Luke didn't talk to him. He went straight up, tried to murder him in his sleep. Kylo went to the Jedi Academy. He murdered all the Jedi. He murdered all the teenagers, all the people that were trained to be Jedi. He murdered all of them and left. And by the time Luke came out of the gravel, he came out, he saw R2 staring at the Jedi Academy that was on fire and flames. Luke went next to R2-D2, dropped to his knees with failure. So ever since that day, till episode 8, for a long time, for 20-something years since episode 6, he knows he has failed Kylo. He knows he failed him, and he felt like it was all his fault. So Luke went off. Said in episode 7, Luke went off to see, to go and find, this Jedi, the first Jedi temple, which holds the power of the darkness and light. So I don't know what happened with that. But to get back to episode 8, just a little backstory. He made it his last stand. To help the Resistance escape, he made it his last stand. He did the one thing that he needed to do, was help the Resistance, and he did it. He did it through his powers, and he was very strong. Hasn't used his powers in a long time. Got the job done, and his little thing disappeared. He went to exile on the mountain, because he didn't die. He went to exile. His body just disappeared. All his clothes flew off the mountain, and it was sad. It was really sad. I wish they didn't do Luke that way, but I'm okay with it. In my heart, I'm okay with it. I love seeing Luke in this movie, and I wish that he was more physical in this movie. He was, he went in the Millennium Falcon. He traveled. I wish that he got off that planet and did some things. But you know what? He's just been a broken man for so long. He's been in the neutral side of the Force and disconnecting himself from the Force for years. And Rey really helped him make his last stand as Luke Skywalker, a Jedi Master. And he did the right thing, helped the Resistance escape, caused a diversion of using his powers to have another part of himself, kind of like a clone power, to get him over there and do everything in his power to help. And he did. And it was sad. It was. But I am not gonna Even you know, when Luke Skywalker, when Mark Hamill was making this movie, he said the script, he couldn't believe the script at all. And now I can see why, because he didn't expect to go out like he did in this movie, and it makes me feel bad for him as an actor. You know, that he had really no say into what was going to happen. Kind of just read the script and said, holy shit, this is going to happen at the end of the movie. And that's pretty much what happened. So I don't know what the case may be with this. But there are some things that happened that were good. There were some things that happened that were bad. There were some things in the movie that I didn't really agree with too much. But we still got episode 9. If this was episode 9, I'd be like, this was horrible. But it's not. It's not horrible. It wasn't a horrible movie. It wasn't the best movie. Let me tell you, a lot of people are like, the prequels made this movie look fucking bad. You understand? And I love the prequels. Don't get me wrong. Episode 2 is probably the downside of them all, and Jar Jar Binks is the downside of it all, but I can't nitpick. I can nitpick every Star Wars movie and have a problem with it. If I really wanted to, I could say I didn't like this. But is the story really that bad? No. Fans are pissed off. You know, Rotten Tomatoes website literally had 56%. Half of the fan base likes the movie and half doesn't. Maybe it's not a bad thing. Rian Johnson did something different. He turned the story around. And unfortunately, you know what? You still got one more episode left, so there's a lot of answers that we don't know yet. Things were said. Things were cut and copy-pasted. But you know what? It doesn't mean that they're true. Things could turn around very quickly for this franchise and for this movie for episode 9 in 2 years. And we have to wait 2 years for this. You know, we got the Solo movie coming out next May. So everyone is pissed off at Kathleen Kennedy. Everyone's pissed off ever since Disney took over, bought LucasArts, and they're, you know, is it turning into a kid movie now? Is it turning, you know, it's Disney, isn't it? Is it turning into a kiddish movie for young kids? I don't know, but I mean, they actually did a good job with episode 7. But this movie, it's not bad as it looks. It's really not. People are pissed off as soon as they see it. They're angry, pissed off, going to their cars and being miserable going home and thinking about it all night. Me, I wasn't really pissed off at it. I was like, okay. It took me to digest it. It took me a little bit, but I wasn't angry about the movie. I wasn't. I was not angry. My girlfriend loved it. I loved it. I'm a true Star Wars fan to the end. Doesn't mean if you're not a true Star Wars fan, doesn't mean that you can't disagree with shit. Because I've disagreed with a bunch of shit. Let me tell you something. I've disagreed with a whole bunch of shit from I could say I can nitpick every Star Wars movie and there's be something wrong with it. But this was probably one of the ones where you could say, yeah, there are a few problems. But it's either this is going to happen in the next movie. I mean, this is it. Because a new trilogy is coming out. 2021, whatever the hell it is. 2022. 10, 11, and 12. Episode 10, 11, and 12. The contracts have been signed. J.J. Abrams is taking over episode 9. Rian Johnson is taking over episode 10. And he's getting a lot of backlash right now. And when episode 10 comes out, people are going to be worried. And, you know, I'm not really worried. Because if he's doing a brand new story, brand new characters, he could screw this up very easily. And it's hard because George Lucas created this trilogy from the start. And it's worked ever since. The first movie of the next trilogy in episode 10, they have to make sure they make characters that make sense. They have to make characters that are going to bring the crowd in. And they make money off of it. And they got to make sure that that happens. Because if we don't like any characters that they make, this is a fresh start for the trilogy. A brand new story. If they don't do that, then this could be ruined quickly. But I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I think they're going to work really, really hard in getting new characters for the next, 6 years that could do something in these films. So I enjoyed this movie and people are just, it's just everyone has their own opinion. I respect everyone's own opinion, but me as a Star Wars fan and how I look at it, I have no problem with the movie. I don't. A few things I could tinker with here and there. The jokes, Finn and fucking Rose, Snoke's death too quickly, nothing explained, Luke Skywalker going to exile at the end of the movie, the way Luke went out of this movie, too, just all the, just being pulled into the movie at certain moments, and then just certain things like happen where it's cut off by a joke or cut off by something, and and then the Finn and Captain Phasma fight, which I actually liked. Don't know if Captain Phasma is dead, but she fell through a hole with fire. I don't know. And I don't know what's going to happen after that. Captain Phasma could be dead. I don't know. I wasn't, I'm not upset at this movie. I give Rian Johnson 100% full credit of my support. He did whatever he could do. But, I understand. But these characters, they're going to happen in this movie. Things could have, look, I'm not saying that they have to be killed off, but I'm just saying things have to happen a certain way. Maybe this wasn't the way that it had to happen. But, looking at it from another way, we'll see. But give it time, everybody. Star Wars fans need to give it time. They can't give up on Star Wars. They can't give up on what they can actually do for the fans. This movie was probably very hard. There's probably a lot of, I heard there was over 20 minutes of deleted scenes. There was over 20 minutes of different things that could have happened in the movie. And I don't blame them, because this movie was 2.5 hours long. 2 hours, 30 minutes long. It was supposed to be a 3-hour movie, and they trimmed it down to 2:30. So, just have faith, Star Wars fans. Have faith in what, about everything that's going on with this franchise. It will turn around. Okay, it will turn around, but you can't just give up on it from one movie, okay? Everyone could have gave up on it after episode 2, and look what happened. They came back with episode 3. Was like the fucking, that movie was excellent. I loved episode 3. Probably one of my favorites, probably the favorite movie of Star Wars is episode fucking 3. My favorite. And look what they did. They went from that love story, episode 2, Attack of the Clones, lovey-dovey, barely any action, just like a dink-dunk of just mush shit going all over the place, to episode 3, which was like a sad. But the problem is that was Lucasfilm. This is Disney taking over Lucasfilm. So there still can be a good amount of violence, but not as much. But they can really PG it very well to where it can be pretty crazy. It's a little bit different because you had, like in the old movies, episode 5, Empire Strikes Back, you had the torturing, you had all these other things happen in perspective. But this right here, it's something that it's being worked on, and honestly, this story will turn around. Just give it time. I'm not in denial. I'm not trying to make myself feel better and go in denial about it down the road. I'll be a Star Wars fan till the day I fucking die. No matter what movie's bad, what movie's good, I'll still watch it and enjoy it and not give a shit. I'll be like, okay, I didn't really like this and this. But when it comes to ending a trilogy, ending these characters, the Luke Skywalker bloodline, this has got to be over, because the new trilogy has got to come out with brand new characters, a brand new Star Wars story that probably is going to be a good one. Who knows? Okay? Rian Johnson's going to have his second time around with this new film, and we're going to see what happens in episode 10. But J.J. Abrams is going to take over episode 9, okay? Which I was actually very excited about. And he's had success. J.J. Abrams had success with Star Trek, the Star Trek movies that came out, everything like that. I have no problem. This franchise will turn around, okay? There's a lot of shit nowadays. When you look at video games, you look at movies, every time things are recreated, a lot of things are dead now. A lot of game trilogies are dead now. A lot of movie trilogies are dead now. This is one trilogy where it's not going to go away. Okay, and they're going to make it better. Star Wars is back, and we've been dying ever since 2005. Before Episode 7 came out, 2005 was the last year a Star Wars movie was made. And it's been a long fucking time. 12 years. 12, 13 years since a Star Wars movie has been out. And, I understand we want excellence. We want the best directors. Who knows? Maybe Rian Johnson won't be the director of Episode 10. Who knows? Maybe they'll be like, you know what? Let's go a different direction. We wanted to... You know what I mean? Who knows? But if Rian Johnson has a second time around, Rian Johnson has a second time coming around to episode 10, so fucking be it. He'll have the second time coming. But I understand. I will repeat myself for the 10th millionth time. There were some things about this movie I didn't like at all. And maybe these characters, like I said before, some of these characters probably shouldn't have went the way they fucking did. But this was like a build-up to a fallen Jedi a rising Jedi and a resistance that's barely surviving to keep on to the ninth movie. And there's so much that has lost to gain what we there's so much that was lost to have gained in this war between the First Order and the Resistance. So I could see the representation of it, the formality of Luke and how it all turned out and how his ending is, but he will be back. Next movie, I see him being back, and honestly, good things will happen. He will help Rey through the Force. You know, I don't agree with the way he kind of went out, but that was his last stand as Luke Skywalker, and he used everything he had in himself to help the Resistance escape with I think they only had 20-something people left that were alive, and help them escape. And if it wasn't for him, the First Order would have killed all of them. There'd be no Resistance, there'd be no nothing, and I don't know what would have happened. But he had his last stand. I'm proud of that guy for what he did. Mark Hamill wasn't really thrilled about his part in this movie, and I kind of don't blame him because I wish he did something a little different. But it is what it is. But I'm not going to hate Star Wars. I'm not going to hate this movie so much because of that. So that's all I really want to say, guys. I know this is the Eagles fan channel, but I wanted to just do a movie review. I love Star Wars, and everybody knows I'm a fucking big-ass fan. So I'm not upset at this movie. And those fans, if they're going to be bitter, then let them be bitter. Because when something comes out, they'll jump right back on the fucking bandwagon, right back on the train again. And we'll keep this Star Wars movie train rolling and carolling. So that's all I got to say, guys. Keep your fucking spirits up. May the Force be with you guys. And that's about it. Peace. Peace.